My name is Sergeant Gates Townsend with the Phoenix Police Department. I am one of two sergeants over our crisis intervention team. And so they wanted us to talk a little bit about our team and what we do here. And looking at the program, I'm in a dangerous position because I'm the only one that stands between you and lunch, so I'll try to keep it brief. So about 3 years ago, the Phoenix Police Department created the first crisis intervention team squad. This is a squad of 8 detectives that their full-time job is to work with those of our community that suffer from mental health conditions. And about a year after they created the first squad, they created another squad, so now we have 2 squads that work full-time, one in more of a day shift hours and one more the swing shift, afternoon, evening hours. And so our primary responsibilities are to respond to incidents in our community where officers are interacting with community members with mental health conditions that they need resources or other assistance to help them in their crisis. So we go through a lot of extra training and negotiations training and communications training so that we can help these interactions be the best possible. And we also help educate and train other officers in the field. So Crisis Intervention Team is a model that was developed a long time ago in Memphis, Tennessee is where it initially started. And since then, it's kind of a national approach to mental health in law enforcement to help police officers interact better with the community members of where they work. And so we have a basic crisis intervention team training class that is provided to our first responders 4 times a year. And it's a 40-hour class where it teaches them about the basics of the different mental health conditions, helps them to understand where those people are coming from and the things they're experiencing to help us build understanding and empathy for them, and to help us understand what resources are available out in the community. So we're trying to be a bridge between law enforcement and our behavioral health partners so that we can provide the best assistance possible. And so my team specifically, so first responders are able to go to this crisis intervention team training. We have approximately 300 officers trained in the field currently. There's about 550 throughout our entire police department that have received this training that are currently on the job, but they may be supervisors or in other specialty positions. But out in the field working as first responders, there's approximately 300. And so they're considered a CAT trained officer. And so when calls come in for service through 911 or other means that may have a mental health component, they're able to answer up for those calls and respond out there to provide the specialized assistance that those community members may need. And if they need other resources, my team right now I have 7 on my team, the other squad has 5 on their team. We can go out and provide additional resources and assistance because we do this full-time all day, every day. And we have a lot of relationships with our behavioral health partners. And so we can help in sometimes the difficult situations that people are facing. A lot of times when people are in crisis, they may need an officer to come out there and help de-escalate a situation through communication skills that we've learned to help them peacefully come out so we can get them to the right resources. And so we go through continual training on a monthly, yearly basis to keep up those skills so that we can provide those resources. One of my detectives, Sabrina Taylor, she was hoping to be here today to explain some of this for you as well. She got caught up in another meeting, but her full-time job is to communicate and liaison with all of our behavioral health partners. She meets with all of them on a regular basis to see how law enforcement and behavioral health can work better together so that there's more of a seamless transition between what we do and what our behavioral health community does. Because there are some situations that require a police response because of the dangerousness of the situation, or by law, police do have to be involved in the process in some situations. And so we are continually always trying to better our program and to receive feedback and better ways to help our community. One of the things we're trying to do right now is work with find a program that we can use for those that live in a home where they have family members or they themselves want to provide information to first responders, so that when a 911 call goes in, that information can go out to our first responders to let them know of different situations that are in that home, of any type of disabilities or vulnerabilities that they want officers to be aware of. So the City of Phoenix is currently working on a program to help fit that need. So we will go out and do a lot of presentations to help educate our community members on how to help interact with people with mental health conditions. We provide training to our new officers in the police academy so that they have a better understanding of mental health conditions and other types of disabilities. And this is a kind of unique model for police departments. A lot of departments have crisis intervention team training for their officers, but the City of Phoenix is unique that we have 2 full-time squads that's all we work with on a daily basis. So I enjoy working in that field. I think it's an important part of our job is to help those who are more at risk or more vulnerable for situations, to help them get the resources they need and help them be successful in their lives. I think part of the presentation you wanted was about communication with law enforcement. I think the best thing to do is to always remember that if you're interacting with an officer, they're coming to your home, they may not be aware of any of the vulnerabilities or disabilities that are in that home. So in some way, being able to communicate that with them as soon as possible is important, so the officers know how to best interact with you and communicate with you. Obviously, try and stay calm and communicate the best way possible. If you're on with the 911 operators, obviously providing as much information as you can to 911 operators so they can pass it along to responding officers is also important. That's why we hope this new program where you can provide information out voluntarily to the police department would be helpful, so that officers responding to your home can be aware of some of the conditions that exist there. Question?
So Peoria has a system that we input data, like I've had for a stroke, and so then they already have, when they come to my house, the information about me. Is that the same program? It's a national program. Is that the same program you're talking about?
I think you're talking about Smart 911.
I can't remember the name of it.
I believe Peoria does use that. That is one of the programs we are looking into.
Is there a timeline that Phoenix is going to get on board with one of those programs?
We've actually been working on it for a while. We're trying to figure out the best program for Phoenix, and so we're hoping to have something this year.
Right.
And so we're actively working on it as we speak. So we've had a lot of conversations about what would work best for that. That's basically all I had for my presentation. If there's a question, that's fine.
I guess they want me to use the microphone. We've had a couple instances. I am at a program for adults who have been diagnosed with a variety of disabilities, up to 70 adults and up to 30 youth. And we've had a few instances that there have been strong police events happening within our neighborhood. One of them caused an incident on our property. Is there a way that we can make sure that police officers know where we are? Because we've tried multiple times. The most recent one was just about 2 weeks ago, and at the point where they're busy, I was trying to ask an officer if we can continue with business as usual because they closed down the road in front of our facility, and they were a little busy and couldn't communicate, but I don't think the officers present even knew what we were. And we've had that come up a few times now.
So you're asking if there's a way to let law enforcement know about your residents and who lives there?
Yeah, it's a day program, so by sight, it looks just like a recreation program, a general rec center, a big gym and stuff. So by sight, they would not have any idea of what population we serve.
So that's part of what this program would do. It would be attached to an address. So if they were specifically interacting with your address, then they would be able to receive that information. If there's an incident going on around you and you want to let officers know, I would say the best thing to do is you can call into our Crime Stop number and let dispatchers know about it, and then they can put that information out to the officers that are in your area working an incident, so they're aware of that.
That's basically, I didn't know how to handle it, to let them know, hey, you guys are out here, but we're going to have some people walking around the neighborhood that are coming to our center now, and I didn't know how to give that information out quickly to them.
Yes, so calling our non-emergency number would be perfect in those situations if there's an incident going on actively, and they would pass that along to the officers on scene.
Okay, we have one question, and then we're going to move on to our next presenter.
Thank you, Officer. I'm assuming that a major goal of your program is to reduce the need for physical subduing and interaction with somebody. So I'm interested in hearing if you could share what are some of the specific skills that officers are taught to deal with somebody who might start to become aggressive or they're non-compliant in some way because of a cognitive issue?
Yes, so that is obviously very important. Our goal is to use the least amount of force as possible when interacting with people, and it comes through education and understanding on both sides. For officers to understand different conditions that people are dealing with in their life, and so the officers can understand, all right, if I understand this type of disability or mental health condition, then they can have a little more leeway with the way they interact with them. So our goal is, as long as the person is safe in that moment, there's not actively something unsafe happening, then we can take some more time and communicate with them and talk to them and hopefully bring them down emotionally so that they're more, they're better able to communicate with us and more cooperative. And so that's what our training is in our squads. You know, we've been around, like I said, for about 3 years, and we've had maybe one incident in 3 years where we've had to use a little bit higher level of force with somebody, because our team is so good at communicating and talking with people, because a lot of times we do respond and people are at a heightened level emotionally, and they do get nervous when they see police officers, and that can even heighten it even more. So our goal is to help them feel safe and speak to them calmly, speak to them just like we're talking here, just like friends would speak to them, and get to know them better, and hopefully they can build up trust with us and us with them, and then we can avoid it escalating into a physical altercation. So that's the goal of our team and what my detectives do very well at. And we're trying to get more of that training out to our first responders to understand, so when they see some of those heightened levels of emotion and people that there may be certain reasons why, and they can take a moment, if it's safe to do so, to try to de-escalate the situation before going hands-on.
All right, thank you so much for your information. We have a little round of applause.